This isn't working! What do we do? Aim for the head and go! Yes! A little more!
I am your doom!
Dead, dead, dead!
Hello, fellow faithful of the God Emperor of Mankind. It is I, Creature, and how it's taken me this long to make a 40K video is a fucking miracle, but here we are. Dartide. Now, I'm one of the lucky few who are able to actually get into the Dartide closed beta, and I played as much of it as I possibly could. However, that was only about 4 hours, because I got into it on the very last day. Let's get into it. Dartide itself is very similar to games like Vermintide or Left 4 Dead, but it's a little bit more than just Vermintide or Left 4 Dead 40K. The game itself takes the premises laid out by games like Left 4 Dead and expands upon them a good bit, and it even makes use of a lot of the technical capability of computers nowadays, thus allowing there to be a shit ton of enemies on screen constantly, and I love it. You are a member of an Imperial Penal Division, and instead of being put on the front lines in a world like Armageddon to fight against the Orcs, you are instead being thrown into an undercity of a hive in order to clear out a little bit of chaos corruption that started to permeate its way through the bowels. While this sort of corruption isn't extremely uncommon, it is a problem that needs to be sorted out very quickly, lest we start getting some more demonic corruption, and better yet, some demonic incursions on the planet. And nobody wants another Siege of Rax. You're able to choose from either an Ogryn or a Sharpshooter or a Zealot or a Psyker in order to fill out your own character. And while you can play the different battle classes in the game, I was only able to play with the Psyker. However, I was able to see just how well the different classes played around each other, and it does feel really good. That is, unless the Sharpshooter would stop headshotting the enemy that I'm very clearly targeting with my psychic abilities, because he knows damn well it's going to be taking me a good amount of time to pray the gay away before I can catch up with the rest of the party. Now to cut down on a little bit of the lore that I just espoused, for everybody who has a life, you are essentially a bad boy in the Imperium of Man, and have been sent into the bowels what is in essence 20,000 New York City stacked on top of each other over the span of 30,000 years. And you're doing this in order to stop a bunch of idiots from summoning Satan into the bottom of the city, which will then cause said city to fill with a whole bunch of demons. Also, this is all in space. All that you need to know is that there's a whole bunch of crazy shit going on in the sewers, and you're going to be the unlucky plumber who's going to have to clean that shit out. Like I said earlier, the game has 4 classes, which are the Zealot, which seem to be a very melee-heavy and weapons-heavy class, the Ogryn, which was your tank, the Sharpshooter, which was going to be your all-around soldier man, and your Psyker, which is in essence a space wizard. And not the Jedi Star Wars kind, more of the I have a demon on my shoulder and I'm trying not to let it take over my entire body, but I have control enough of my powers where I'm able to literally reach into the bowels of hell and use magical abilities. Also, if I use too much magical abilities, I'm going to cause my head to explode. Again, skimming over the lore, the game is very fun. Well, because of my limited playtime, I was only able to play a few of the different levels in the game. I will say the ones that I were able to play could have easily kept me occupied for another 60 hours. And while I did play a lot of this game solo, I could definitely tell that if I had a few buddies with me, this game would have been a fucking riot. And the crazy scale of 40K is definitely here in the game. While it does take place in the underhive of a hive city, you're going to be doing a lot more stuff besides just crawling around in sewers. But whenever the game does open up, it really fucking opens up. The 2 main levels that I was able to play through was a sewer system that led to a habitat area, and the other one was a manufactorum, which, you know, the massively stupid insane scale of 40K was definitely translated well into those maps as well. The art in this game looks absolutely amazing. The models are great, the enemies look amazing, and the chaff enemies really made me think like, damn, these are what Poxwalkers or Chaos Cultist Guardsmen look like. It's insane. Normally, I'm a huge proponent against pre-ordering video games and pre-buying video games, but considering I was actually able to sit down and play the beta for a couple of hours, and I had a blast the entire time I did, I'm gonna recommend you pre-order it or pre-buy this game. In fact, at the end of the early access, whenever it became midnight my time, I thought that I was going to be kicked out immediately. Little did I know that I was going to have an extra 2 hours to play the game, and eventually it went from 1 a.m. to 1:30 to 2 a.m. to 2:30, and I genuinely felt like I was a little kid again, glancing at the clock on the monitor, waiting for the time for whenever my mom's going to kick in my door and tell me to shut off the computer and it's time to go to bed. Considering the game was able to make me feel like a kid again, being afraid of being not able to play my favorite game anymore, it's high up there in terms of games that I would heavily recommend. It fucking slaps, and I'm probably going to buy this for Evan and Neil because I'm going to want to play it with them both on stream whenever this game comes out because it is just that fucking fun. Even the characters and the interactions made it a lot more fun. In the very beginning of the game, you're able to essentially make your own character and have their own personality, and depending on what you pick, the characters will interact with the other characters in the game differently. And they interact a ton.
She's very loud, isn't she? The pilot. Is she all right?
She will find her punishment, if need be. As to all those who are lacking in ardor,
We are all in the beneficent Emperor's hands.
This accursed place is as hot as the pyre!
Even when the cooling system's working, Metal Fab 36 is one big oven.
So many unhappy souls worked to exhaustion. I hate it here.
You're not here to mingle. Keep moving.
We're getting blood all over my dream.
Your thanks are not required.
Zola is more professional than pleasant.
That's preferable in my view.
Good fighter. Knows stuff.
I shall reserve judgment. For now.
I'm not sure you meant me to hear that, but I did.
Not to mention that even the quest givers also interact with the characters as well, and they don't interact the same way on the same missions. And occasionally I did see a few visual glitches here and there. For instance, there were two Ogrins that were recreating the Putis Extreme video, and I thought that was pretty fucking funny. But for the most part, everything else was amazing. It's not releasing for another month, and that makes me just a bit more optimistic for the game, considering mechanically everything was working great, but visually there were a few things here and there. But the only glitches that I came across in the 4 hours that I was playing it were mainly just visual glitches, which, considering they have a month to fix it, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to iron out and polish up whatever needs to be polished. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I just wanted to give you all my brief thoughts on Dartide, considering I was able to play it for a little bit of time. But if you were kind of on the fence about this game, I would definitely recommend pre-ordering it. And if you were like, well, I don't know if it's going to be good because some 40K games to come out recently have been ass, this one, from what I was able to play, was really fucking fun. So again, I'm going to recommend pre-order it. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
This is not the sort of brutes I'm accustomed to dealing with.
Can't always be sunshine and flowers, can it?
Big district, many homes, many opportunities.
You're right in the bowels, but the best way to reach the enforcer station is from the streets.
I want to go back.